Hello, I'm Oskar Sherlief, and here are the latest updates from Kazakhstan. There were no Kazakh citizens among those killed and injured during Monday's blasts in Moscow metro, reported the Embassy of Kazakhstan in Russia, with the reference to the country's Foreign Affairs Ministry.
On Monday morning, 2 blasts were registered in Moscow metro system. The first explosion occurred at the station Lubyanka, followed in half of an hour at the radial station Park Kultury. According to Russian information agency Novosti, which referred to the emergency ministry, 37 people were killed and 65 others injured. The explosion were labeled terrorism and appropriate criminal investigation is underway. The Federal Security Service of the Russian Federation accused Chechen militants in the bombing. Currently, the security measures are strengthened in St. Petersburg and Minsk metro systems.
To the other news, Mukhtar Ablyazov's information about the corrupt practices of the Kazakh president's son-in-law Timur Kulibayev had attracted attention abroad. The Wall Street Journal has an article on the issue titled "China's Kazakh oil deals spark spat."
The article says that an acrimonious battle between 2 prominent Kazakh businessmen has triggered a slew of allegations that purport to lift a lid on how Chinese companies build a commanding position in Kazakhstan's oil industry. The newspaper quotes Mukhtar Ablyazov's statements, which demonstrate the role Timur Kulibayev played in achieving the current status of the Chinese firms in Kazakhstan.
Kazakh courts have created an immoral precedent by sentencing Vladimir Kozlov, the leader of the unregistered party Alga, stated the country's public activist during a press conference in Almaty on Monday. According to the opponents of the authorities, Kozlov's verdict is nothing but a police sweep due to the upcoming anniversary of the president.
The trial of Vladimir Kozlov, the leader of the unregistered party Alga, is illegal and unconstitutional, said independent experts and oppositionists during the meeting with reporters on March 29th. Lawyer Sergei Utkin called the arrest of Kozlov a legal precedent. For the first time in Kazakhstan, the person who was distributing leaflets was officially sued for rallying. However, according to the administrative code, the law is on the Kozlov side.
According to the Article 12 of the Administrative Code, the law works on the benefit of the defendant if there is something ambiguous or unclear about the case. In our situation, it could have been interpreted that it was not clear that Kozlov was doing well. What he actually did is allowed. If someone wants to ban it, they should pass the bill to the parliament.
The leader of the unregistered party Alga was detained on March 25th for attempting to distribute leaflets with the biography of Mukhtar Jakishev. On the next day, the Administrative Court of Almaty sentenced Vladimir Kozlov to 10 days in jail. The public called this the arbitrariness of the authorities, adding that the arrest of Kozlov is the beginning of repressions against the freedom of speech and expression of citizens' views. Some went even further and said that the sentence is a cruel joke on human rights.
Here's another paradox. Kozlov has a right to appeal the verdict within 10 days, yet he was immediately taken to the jail right after the hearing. The lawyers couldn't even reach him for several days to get his signature under the appeal papers.
According to the vice chair of Alga, Mikhail Sizov, on Monday 5 activists of the unregistered party were arrested for the actions in support of Vladimir Kozlov in Uralsk. Apart from submitting an appeal to the Supreme Court, the leadership of Alga is planning to ask the UN and a number of foreign embassies to finally notice the less than perfect behavior of the country that currently chairs the OSCE.
The National Social Democratic Party Azad had distributed its statements regarding the arrest of Vladimir Kozlov on March 29th.
According to party members, this case, along with the increasing number of arrests of civil society members for fictitious reasons, was another sign of the strengthening of the regime of repressive policies against the dissent. In addition, the arrests without any legal grounds gives way to the arbitrariness to the authorities and law enforcement agencies in regard to any citizen of Kazakhstan, stated the party members.
Reporters have their reason to be dissatisfied with the authorities. Together with representatives of human rights organizations, they appealed to the government, demanding to explain the criteria of shutting down local websites.
The journalists have written an open letter to the Minister of Justice, Minister of Communications and Information, and also to the cabinet head Karim Masimov. Together with the Foundation for Protection of Freedom of Speech and Kazakh Freedom Movement, they asked to reveal the methods of determining the destructiveness of internet sites. Imagine an internet user writing whatever comes to his mind. Well, smart enough and trained moderators can timely clean up after the user. But the problem is to find the line between the violation and censorship. Previously, the administrator of the forum Zakon.kz, Igor Loskutov, appealed to the Justice Ministry with a similar request. Officials replied with a refusal, supposedly because the technique is classified. However, Loskutov argues that there is a certain procedure for classification, thus the controversial document should be accessible for the public.
The document is not considered a state secret, and the law even forbids having any other classifications. So we have a situation on our hands when the document is apparently not classified, but is not accessible either.
Evidently, the new minister, just like journalists, also does not understand much about the issues of destructiveness. In his reply to the inquiry, he refers to the same regulations that are still inaccessible.
Destructive websites were determined in accordance with the law, judging by the destructiveness of their content. Also, I will not name any specific sites.
While journalists are blindly walking through the information minefield, a special computer incident service knows what it is doing. According to human rights activists, at least 5 resources in the KZ zone are closed every month.
Yusef Junusov, the former head of the village Kazalagash, which suffered the most from the break dam in the Almaty region, has written a poem to his fellow villagers. The official, who is being held in the detention ward, asks people for the forgiveness through the local newspaper Вечерний Талдыкурган.
In his repentant statement, the head of local administration asks not to rush with the criticism towards him. The official says he also simply believed the dam's owner. The fresh poet hopes that there are elders in the village who will appeal for peace and patience.
The president instructed the governor of Almaty region, Serik Umbetov, to monitor the situation in Kazalagash. In particular, the official is personally responsible for the proper use of $16 million allocated for the restoration of the village, which was destroyed by the flood. Meanwhile, the disaster victims complained that the government aid is not always helpful and that they have not received any money so far.
The town of Kazalagash was officially visited by Bolat Nazarbayev, the brother of Kazakh president. He promised to build 10 houses there using the means of his own company.
My company will construct 10 houses in the village without using the state money.
Meanwhile, restoration works in Kazalagash have already begun. The first houses are being built and the garbage removed. The residents do not hide their emotions, as they did not believe the construction would start at all. Currently, those who found the strength to go back to the area are temporarily housed in a tent camp. According to the village's old-timer Saken Yerbasynov, people receive only clothes and food supplies from the aid sent to the area, but not the money.
We only receive the aid from abroad. I know that each of the 14 regions in Kazakhstan is sending up to $3,000, but we never see this money.
Nevertheless, the victims are not complaining, as the construction of their houses is already underway, and they were even promised to complete all the paperwork without any delays. The acknowledgement of 3 neighbors will be enough to claim a right for a new house. Meanwhile, Ordogul Kabdul is worried about the humanitarian assistance, which is being pompously gathered from all over the country, but is sometimes misused. Sometimes clothes being sent are unsuitable for wearing, so we use them for heating our stoves. More than 2 weeks have passed since the tragedy. The search and rescue works in the village of Kazalagash are almost complete, leaving the official number of victims at 43 people.